Cheers. Fashion chops. Fashion chops. And these must be your chippy chips.
Whoa.
That is quite a good looking fish actually. We originally were going to get a Chinese, but the Chinese I like answered my message on Facebook.
Thank you.
But didn't pick up my phone call because I accidentally messaged her saying, can I see your menu please?
How did you accidentally...
It was like, click here to ask for the menu. And I thought that was just going to pop up the
like
menu.
an automatic thing.
But it sent her a DM saying, can I see the menu please? And I was like, oh no. Yeah, but I feel like mukbangs are dead. And I'm here like...
Well, so am I.
What is thriving is like 24 hours eating only foods beginning with B.
Should we call this video? I sat down and talked about my life while eating fish and chips for 1 hour.
For 1 hour. 1 hour eating fish and chips.
I have to be really specific, so it's like
Oh, yeah.
47 minutes, 53 seconds. Eating
That's true,
fish and
yeah.
chips and
No, it
talking
is
about
true.
shit.
It will trend more as well. I watched one today and not gonna lie, I actually cried watching it because it was 24 hours swapping meals with my nan. And this lovely little old lady, she reminded me of my nan, so I just started crying and so I stopped the video.
Aww.
But the videos make me cringe because they're like, I feel like they're acting up because they're like, oh, I'm so jealous you've got to eat that. And then like they swap dinners and they're like, oh, that looks so good. I can't believe I have to eat this chip. Like, I mean, I know that's entertainment purposes, but like, you chose to do the video. What are you talking about? 80% of those people turn off the camera and they're like, YouTubers exposed. So I got a £1/2 veggie burger with chips. Up north, you don't get veggie options as much as you do down south. So I saw this and I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna do that. But now I've seen your fish.
You do this every time?
I kind of like getting veggie options as well because it kind of shows the market that there is a demand, you know?
Whoa!
What?
This must have been squeezed when it was last used.
Yeah, that was probably me. Ugh, that's a soggy ass chip. Way too much salt, man. Oh, I've got a sequin in my dinner. Got given sequins in a birthday card for my birthday. And naturally, you just got to put them everywhere, don't you?
Just glad it's not glitter.
Oh, that would be better.
No, it would be 10 times worse.
No, because you wouldn't see it until, like, you go. And then you just see a light.
Right.
Right?
Thank you,
Thank you.
Lord Ellie, for this meal. That's good fish, bro.
We have done like 2 videos on the topic of moving out. So we did one where we announced that we were moving out together, or like finding flats. I don't know what we were doing, and then we had another one that we filmed at Betty's house, his grandma's, when we were living there before we were choosing somewhere to live in a physical. I haven't explained this very well, have I?
No. Eat some fish.
At your grandma's house, we were living there for a bit because obviously she lives in Newcastle and we didn't know where we wanted to live and we needed to find a flat and all that sort of stuff, so it was really helpful. And we filmed an update video there where we were talking about living together in someone else's home, blah blah blah. And now this is the next one. I will leave the links to all of those videos down there if you're interested, because I get a lot of questions that we speak about anyway, like about living together, and like if we haven't spoke about that in this, then chances are it's there. Since we filmed that video at his grandma's, we basically just did a heck load of flat viewing. It's in all my vlogs anyway, so you probably know a lot of the process. Obviously Adam got a new job pretty much straight away, didn't you?
Well, within a month or two.
And he loves it there? You love it there?
Mm-hmm.
Likes
It's
people?
well good.
That can really throw a spanner in the mix if we like decide to make this move for a flat, but then, oh wait, you might not like your new job. But you liked it, you settled in quite well. The commute's a bit of a ball ache. He has to cross a river.
That's quite cool though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cool to say, in theory. And then we came across this place, this little old place. There was a few things wrong with other flats we found, and we were like... But this one, we were like, In all honesty, we did try and get a deduction on the rent price because we are stingy. I think it's worth kind of taking that risk.
Well, it's not really a risk, is it? Because if they turn around and say no, basically go for the full price or go somewhere else. I suppose the only risk is if you really want the place, someone else might snatch it up in the time that you're trying to make an offer.
I had visited down south for a few days at this point, and my sister actually had mentioned to me whilst I was down south, are you gonna go ahead with that flat? And I was like, oh, we've kind of just left it because they didn't accept our offer. Whilst I was talking to her, I looked online to see the listing. They reduced the fee. It wasn't as, not fee, sorry, they reduced the rent.
Yeah, the monthly rent.
The monthly rent.
And the first month's rent was half price as well.
Yeah, so they didn't make it as low as what we said, but they definitely reduced it. And at the time, I was like, oh, that's a bit weird how they said no to us, but then they didn't really say, but we are kind of lowering it anyway. However, now I know about the agency we were with. They're not the most reliable. They're quite slow and I feel quite lazy. They haven't messed up, but they've done a few things a bit like half-assed. And that doesn't matter anymore because we're not really associated to them anymore, are we? We've just been handed over to the landlords. Knowing that has made me realise that's probably why we weren't really told, because I feel like they were just very slow.
We thought, because we caught the reduction at exactly like the day that it happened. So we thought probably not many people would have seen that, because we didn't get like a notification or anything. No one called us to tell us or anything. So in the end, we obviously decided to go for it. And,
agencies will tell you that other people are interested. No matter if they are or not, they will tell you that. So don't let them pressure you. Although there is a bit of pressure because we all know it's up there for sale and anyone can grab it. Agencies will say that anyway, regardless of if 12 people are looking or just you.
And I always think, like, if I go for this, I'm committed for however long the contract is. Do I really want to live here for a year? What could potentially happen down the line?
Yeah.
What would the neighbours be like? Because if the neighbours are crap from day one, you have to put up with it the whole year. So all that sort of stuff.
There's pros and cons when it comes to 6 months versus 12-month contracts. Like a 6 month sounds good because you're not really bound down as much, but the landlord could kick you out in 6 months. It's less secure as a bonus and a con, weirdly. At first I was like, I need 12-month ones, we should only go for 12-month ones. But then you think, well, that's a long time to be stuck to something you might not like. And I might be stuck here for 12 months, hating my life, not liking being away from home, being homesick, not liking working in the house all the time and not feeling myself or whatever. And you need to talk about these things. I know some couples are like, I don't want to talk to my boyfriend about what would happen if we broke up or something. But you do, like, even if you're moving in with your sister, like, just say, right, if one of us doesn't want to be here anymore, if one of us finds a partner and wants to move out of them, like, what do we do?
Will we cope?
Discuss it. It's fine. It's cool. Mentally put yourself in that month and year and date and be like, would this be suitable? Because I had to think about that. Obviously, we're moving. I have to check my accounts and stuff because I'm self-employed.
Whereas mine was quite easy because I just work full-time. So because I work for an agency and the fact that I was fairly new to the job, obviously from their point of view, they don't know if I'm the kind of person who would just be like flaky and like want to leave the job or not like it, or them not like me and fire me quite early. But then our point was anyone can get fired at any point from any job. So, and we have just moved up, so it's not like I've been up here for ages and I haven't worked for ages and stuff like that. But that was all. It was all good in the end. I had to pay the first month's rent and deposit and stuff like that, and the fees.
Yeah.
And
so
once that went through, they said pick up the keys basically.
Don't forget about that. Like, if you're budgeting, ready to move out and rent, don't forget there will be fees on top and deposit. And then we kind of got the keys on a Friday. It was really exciting. There's a vlog about it if you're interested. And I really honestly was pooping myself. Like, I wanted to be excited, but at the back of my mind I was like,
something goes wrong.
Yeah, like we're going to get faced by something and I can just feel it in my fingers. So we were all walking up to the flat, me, your grandma and your cousin, and they were all like excited and buzzing, and I was just like, we're going to walk in and something's just... I'm a bit of a...
The ceiling's going to cave in.
Yeah, something like that. Or not even that, because that would be like their issue. It was more that we moved in and like walls smell like fish. But something we'd have to live with.
Just put up with, yeah.
But I'm a bit that way anyway. I always expect the worst, so I never get disappointed.
I say it's generally the best way to be honest.
As long as it doesn't affect your mood and stuff. Like, I always say I'm an optimist. I'm a pessimistic optimist, as in I keep very positive, and I'm always like, yeah, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be fun. But I have like plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. And that night when we fell asleep, because we had a mattress up in the front room, I was like holding my breath the entire time, like, what's gonna go wrong? Mainly, actually, at the time, because we didn't have any neighbours above us, I was like, I didn't really know who was going to be up there and what they were going to be like as people, and also like the structure of the building, how loud they were going to be. We had heard next door that way through the wall, and they're quiet as mice, even though it was a whole entire family. At the same time, I don't blame myself for doing that. I think it's good that I think these things through. Like, most people would see a nice flat and be like, sweet, done, got it. But I was walking around all these different places, like, what's the area like, what kind of people will be living around us, like the structure of the building. And if the building's old, you got to bear in mind that it might not be as soundproof. If it's a new build, it's not going to be as big. Like, if you're downstairs, there's people upstairs, you're upstairs, people downstairs. You've got a big house, it's all to yourself, but obviously it's going to be more expensive. All of these things. And also if you're in a block of flats, like there's obviously going to be possible like community fees.
Yeah, so like you pay, everyone pays a little bit towards like the upkeep of the building in the area and stuff.
And obviously you have to share the block with other people, so bear in mind you've got to see people like probably all the time, and the hallways and stuff. That sounds a bit trivial, but I've known a few people who've had issues with those that they live nearby, blocking hallways and putting bins out in the hallways and just like being general idiots. But I think I kind of want to do like a house viewing video in another time. This is more just about like lifey things and bits and bobs. So later on we did, as you saw in a vlog probably, find out that the building is quite noisy when it comes to neighbours, particularly ones up there. You may even hear them in a minute because they have a child. You could say it's not their fault, but you could also say, why are you moving upstairs with a child? I don't know. It's controversial, I think.
Not really. It's not controversial. It's just a one-sided feeling.
Controversial isn't like, I don't want to say anything to hurt anyone's feelings.
But not controversial in the sense of, why would you do it?
Yeah.
You know, one of the guys at work has just bought a flat, and above him someone's got a dog. So he says all you can hear all the time is just the dog running around and barking and barking and barking for ages. And he's like, it's horrendous. I felt sorry for him. I was like, I'd rather be in my situation.
Also, you've got to think about if neighbours like play music and stuff, and that also might sound like I'm being funny, but honestly, imagine hearing like boom, 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 boom all the time, because every now and again I'll hear something like going on upstairs where it's the TV's extra loud or like there is music, and that makes me think like, Christ, imagine that constantly. I've kind of made a video about this on my own as like an independent person who moved away from her family. It feels cool to like move out. I've never moved out with a partner. Most people who haven't moved out yet kind of feel like they know what it'll be like, as in you've lived with your boyfriend in your parents' house, or you've been on holiday for 2 weeks with your partner. But even when we moved out with your grandma, like we moved into her house together, that is nowhere near the same as what things feel like now. Because things were done for us there. It's someone else's home, so like they're going to be the one like sorting stuff out and tidying, and especially your grandma, because she's.
It's like we're put in a situation where we're responsible for everything when we might not have been responsible for everything before. And it does make you grow up quite a bit, and you realise how much work actually goes into having a place. Because I've always said I'd love to have like quite a big house. I put myself off when I think of, if I feel like it's a lot of effort to look after and tidy up and clean like a 2-bedroom flat, then what would it be like for like a 4-bedroom big house, you know?
We spoke a little bit about this on my podcast, shameless little plug here. It's through my Patreon account. You literally only need to be donating $1 and you get access to all of them. I do want to just like elaborate now. What would you say you've learnt about me since moving in? And what were you expecting and what did you get?
I don't think you're too different to what I would have expected anyway. I didn't really expect anything of you. More relaxed than what I expected you to be.
Really?
Yeah, even though I know you're a relaxed person anyway.
This one
most
time,
of the time chilling.
Adam called me high maintenance and I never forgot it.
But what was the context behind it?
We were about to go on holiday and you were like, you're going to need a big suitcase because you're quite high maintenance. And I was like...
Okay.
Because I feel like I am so not that in comparison to everyone I know. Even on holiday, you should see some of the things I see girls pack and I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway, from that, I was like, maybe Adam has like quite big expectations of me needing a lot and like wanting things a certain way. So I will say that it is a good starting point to maybe like go away with your partner for a long time or like live together in your parents' house. Because you do learn a lot, and I think because we did that, we lived with each other quite a lot in my mum's house and then in your old flat. We were together like all the time, so we get to know each other's kind of quirks and the way they work and how they want things, and it gives you a good idea of what it will be like to actually live with them. So there was a lot about each other we kind of grew to learn and helped us figure out if we would want to live with that all the time. You learn how much free time they want, you learn what they do after work. Everyone cools down differently. Everyone's big days out are different, like how much they go out is different, and if you have that compatibility, that's a really good sign, because then it shows your schedules will go well together. And I learned little things like, it sounds silly, but he has hay fever. which sounds silly. And he was allergic to his hamster at the time, which also sounds silly. But both of those things, right, taught me a lot about you. As in, if we've been out, you're like all bunged up and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And if he does, he'll get a little bit ill because he's got hay fever. And then the hamster deal, I was like, right, so we can't have pets. That's a big deal for me. And then he's got a B12 deficiency, so he doesn't want to do high energy activities at the weekend. That is a big thing because that takes away a lot of his energy and things like your memory and that could cause arguments. I'm a vegetarian, that might suck.
But to be fair, that's one of the least of my worries.
What? That I'm a vegetarian?
Well, the only thing I've ever thought is it's going to be a little bit tricky to eat together. If anything, it's just a little bit sad that I can't make the same meal and we both sit down and have the same thing. Well, we can in some cases, like if we have fish or something. I don't have an issue with it. It's just as easy to bung two lots of things in the oven.
We'll have to cook in a certain way. If we end up together forever, I'll have to cook in a certain way for the rest of my life. I might not want to date a meat eater. Like if it means I have to prepare him ham sandwiches every day or spam, I cook him chicken, blah blah blah. If some people don't want to touch that, then that will be a deal breaker. Basically, the point I'm saying is, the more you're with them, the more you get to know them, so everything's not as much of a shock.
Your everyday life is quite funky, you know, because you're always doing something new and different. I'll leave the house at a certain time, I'll get back at a certain time. I'll eat food, do a couple of things in the house I need doing, and then settle down, watch a bit of TV, play some games, and then go to bed. Whereas like when I see you doing things, you could be editing the video, you could be preparing some cool stuff for the next day. I don't know. It makes a bit of a difference to my day as well, because it's interesting to me as well.
It's so funny you just said that, because I know what you're saying, like the nature of what I do is different, but so many times a day I think to myself, I just must be so bored of me and like what I do. Like you come home and you're like, Ellie's in the same place she was when I left her, done the same stuff that she's done for like years. But
here's one big thing that I thought you were going to be like, which you didn't turn out to be like.
Ooh.
Because we're both night owls by nature, and because Ellie works for herself, I would say she's not the best in the world at managing things, but she's also not incapable, and she's a bit of a follower as well. So like the way that it's kind of worked is that Ellie's been really good at trying to fit in her work hours around my work hours, because obviously I can't change my work hours. So she tries to get up around about the same time as me and then spend the day from that point working. Obviously, like sit down, chill for a bit and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? It's not like you getting up at like lunchtime, starting work at like 2 o'clock and then me getting home at 6 and you keep working through till like I go to sleep, which I really appreciate because it means we actually get to spend time together.
it makes so much more sense to do that, like logically, for so many reasons. I'm more productive. I see more sunlight because I'm not going to be as down. It means I can have all my stuff ready and done so that when he comes home we can chill out together. Like I can actually respond to emails appropriate times where people are able to get back to me, like people are awake with me, if that makes sense. I want to kind of get up with you and then feel kind of good and refreshed by the time he comes back. Like I don't want him to come back and I'm just like crawling out of bed like, hey. I don't cook dinners every day, but I want to do that, and it surprised me as well. Like I assumed that, and we had a hard time at the beginning of the relationship trying to like
just work everyday lives really, like how routines are gonna happen.
So I always wanted to stay up and you're like, Ellie, you don't understand, like, I've got a full-time job, what are you doing? And then obviously as time's gone on I'm like, right Ellie, let's get your shit together.
I guarantee though, if I wasn't working like normal times, or if I had like a late shift, you would adapt completely to that as well.
100%.
And you'd probably feel more natural in that kind of state anyway. Like she is a bit of a follower, like she adapts to how I live anyway. So if I want to do something, not that I'm the kind of controlling person, but if I'm wanting to do something or if I'm doing something, like if I'm going to bed at a certain time, Ellie will just follow us to bed or something.
I don't know if this counts as like being an empath, but I feel like as someone who is very much controlled by like those around you, that just naturally plays out to me. Like I take in other people's schedule and the way they are and act. Like if I hang out with someone for too long, I literally take on like the way they laugh and everything about them. Even if it would feel more natural to stay up at night, I would rather be someone who like gets up normally and normal hours and does the day normally, because it's just so much nicer. So at times I'm like, if only I did this when I was at my parents, because they for my entire life have like mocked me for having such a bad routine. But I know that the minute if I went back home, I would just go back to that routine. It's
almost like sharing the pain of getting up early and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I would feel awful if he came home every day and I was just like, I've just got up. And I barely did anything as well. I'd feel awful because I never got anything done. I feel awful because he was just like coming home to this slob. And that used to be a lot of our arguments, I think. We used to have bickers. Not arguments.
Well, whenever I went to your house, when we lived down south, whenever I went to Ellie's house to stay, and I'd work the next day, I would say to her, like, just to remind you, I need to go to bed at a reasonable time, because A, I felt crap all week, B, I don't want to feel crap tomorrow, and I've got to get up early.
I'd be like, great, so I'm going to be up, he's just going to be asleep next to me, breathing in my ear hole. But now, if Adam was like, look, I'm going to have an early night, I'll already be in bed and be like, come on then. No, but you obviously get more tied together if your routine's similar. And I'm getting so much more done here because there are less distractions. And I think at home, like, because my job is weird and it doesn't seem like work on the outside of it, everyone was always like wanting things from me and like, go here, do this, you're free, oh, you look free, let's do this thing. I can't earn money if I'm like fanning around with my sisters or something. I can focus on myself. Like, people might say it looks lonely and quiet. Well, it is, and I quite like that. I'm quite an introvert anyway. I like my own company. That really, really helps if you work on your own from home. I have my weekends. We have occasional evenings where we do stuff, obviously. And obviously the Wi-Fi is so much better here, so things get done so much quicker. I'm getting up earlier, so my schedule's not as bad. Like, I used to get up at like 12 and then Adam would usually come over by 6, so I'd have to like rush things, and a lot of the time I was still doing things because my Wi-Fi is shite at home.
Another thing which I really, really appreciate about the fact that you have your own place, you're in full control of like stuff like broadband, and then things like if you're living with family, you don't have to worry about like if they're going to bed early or like getting in the way in the kitchen and stuff.
Yeah,
you've only got each other really. So
I worried that moving out would make me eat more because I'd have constant access to the kitchen, and I'd be like, fuck it, I can make big meals because I'm on my own. And I honestly did think that was the way it's going to be. And being at home during work, I could just constantly snack. But if anything, I've done the opposite because I don't feel like I need to make myself a massive dinner because I'll always have access to the kitchen. So at home, my mum used to make dinners a lot of the time, or if I made dinner, I'd have to like put loads on my plate because I know that I'm not going to be able to cook again that evening. Whereas here I'm like, can have a small-ish dinner, even though it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. I'll eat it, see how I feel, and if I have to, I'll go and make something, which is what you taught me, because you said you do that. And it's really worked, because a lot of the time your eyes are bigger than your belly, and you're just like, I'm fine, I don't need to go to the kitchen. It's my money at the end of the day, so I'm not going to go around eating all the stuff in the kitchen. But that's ridiculous, not practical.
Because obviously with a normal job...
There we go.
Chandelier was shaking.
Demon child is awake.
Because I'm sat in an office all day, you get quite bored sometimes, so like... generally when you're bored, depending on the type of person you are, you might eat. Because of my B12 thing as well, I get tired quite easily, so then I start to get really I lose focus and stuff, so I need to kind of keep myself busy. I feel hungry easier, so then I'll just start reaching out for snacks, so I'll just end up like eating loads of sweets, like unhealthy drinks, which just puts you in a downward spiral. Really, it's really easy to get into and it's hard to get out of.
Also, you learn that I can actually cook. Hey lads, I can cook.
She tends to burn things. Things don't turn out the way she expected them to.
You've seen my cooking videos, guys.
I thought, I'm going to probably have to cook all the time because I'm really particular about like how long I put things in for, where I put them. Because you've made some banging meals, and like you've literally like cooked some things from scratch. Like you made not like shepherd's pie and stuff like that.
Yeah. He's a fussy eater, so I'm there holding my breath, looking at him like... We went into thinking that we were going to have like a set person to do certain things, like you do this, I do this, you do this, I do this. But at the back of my mind, we even said this, we were like, it's down to conveniency. Like if someone's available to do something, like today he texted me like, can you do the laundry because I need a shirt for tomorrow. I did the laundry. I'm not going to say no, you are the one who's supposed to do the laundry. And he's at work like, oh. I think the bottom line is, don't point fingers and treat the other person as you'd want to be treated. Like, if they look tired, be like, right, I'll do the ironing. Don't point score.
Oh, right, I see what you mean.
So don't do something for someone and then, like, write it down or remember it in your brain.
That's, like, the worst thing in the world.
You do that as a kid with your siblings, maybe, but chill, you beans.
Like, genuinely, some people do that as, like, a test. One of them will, like... do something. Now I'm going to wait for this thing to happen and then see how they respond to it and like snap at them to say, well, I did this. Why can't you do that?
Lodged away in their brain so they can use it as a weapon. The only time you can do that is when your partner's not doing anything.
If one person is literally doing everything and the other one's doing nothing, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But unless they've got good reason for it, obviously.
And there might be a
just
chore
gotta-
that someone likes doing more than the other one.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll do double amount of that if you can take on board some of these. And I mean, I do like
It's all about
probably
compromising,
triple the
isn't it?
amount of washing up. That's because I can. It's available, and also it drives me crazy when I'm like working from home and there's just like plates that are going like jelly because we've left it out. So you kind of get used to your own routine, get used to what the other person likes and doesn't like, and also sometimes it's just nice to do a little bit more just because it's nice to see a smile on your partner's face. There'll be the odd occasional stuff, like I'm walking through the kitchen, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I need to do the floor, and I'll do the bathroom because I hate when like the bath's all like gross, the toilet, and then I'll clean the floors, putting the recycling out because we just stack recycling in the kitchen sometimes. I'm not going to be like writing these down in a notebook.
Just talk to each other and compromise communication.
Yeah, you hear people say that a lot, like communication is so important, but sometimes people don't bear in mind it's actually listening as well. Communicate, listen, action. Like listen to the communication and then do something about it. There's no point in listening to someone or communicating to someone if nothing actually ends up getting done. Our landlord happened to want to meet us a week in, maybe less, when we moved in. Maybe it was the next day, wasn't it? She happened to be in the area. A lot of people don't even see their landlord. Some people don't even know anything about them other than their name.
It's just like a bit robotic, really, isn't it? It's just like you're paying money into a system, whereas like this is a lot more like human, which is nice.
That's another thing that ran through my mind when we were looking at flats. I was like, what's the landlord like? Who are they? And you can't get that information from an agency. You can try asking, but they'll probably laugh at you. That happened to us a couple of times. That's another like scary thought that I had in the back of my brain, which is why I was like holding my breath all the time. But this lady turns up, she's really nice and she's down to earth and like real, which annoys me when someone's not, because if you've got a landlord who's like not realistic and doesn't see things from your point of view, it drives me up the wall because you can't approach them with any issues because you know they're not going to see it correctly. They're not going to see it the way you do. Like, we can actually approach her and ask things, and it makes so much difference. It's so much nicer to have someone who would be like, yeah, I'd probably want that if I was in your shoes.
Because they could technically just give us the bare minimum of everything and say, deal with it.
She's quite like mumsy in a weird way.
If they look after us, we're going to be fine for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have that different layer of respect. Like, you might just say, oh, fuck it, like, they get all my money every month, what else do they want? But because you know they're a decent person, you're like, no, I don't want to do anything stupid. Or like you're saying, it's nicer to know where the money's going as well, because at the end of the day you're still just paying money and it's not yours anymore. But to know that it's not going to someone who's a complete arse, it kind of helps in a way, I think. And we have her on like a WhatsApp group, so we can just kind of like approach her if we need to, which is amazing as well, because I'll just take a picture of the blinds like I did the other day and be like, look, we're having an issue, what do you think? And you just chat it out. You don't have to like write a formal email and then get like one back saying, oh, you're not looking after my place and all of this. It's being real. Like, we had an issue with the washing machine, that was in a vlog, and she was just like, right, let's sort it out, and she was already on it, and I'm just like, oh, this is good. Which I think is why I'm actually looking at instructions and stuff when I cook and things now. Not because of the landlord, but because the difference is, from being at home, I'm not looking at things and I'm just being a little bit more erratic, because you do kind of take your family for granted. Like, you think, if something goes down, we can all sort it out together, it'll be great. No, that's not going to be the case here.
Yeah.
If I burn the place down,
literally just your responsibility.
It's all my fault. I'm home alone. I literally have a fire extinguisher under the sink, just in case. No, nothing's going to happen, but you know, like, I'm an anxious cooker, so when I cook, I literally get like so shaky. I don't really now, but at the beginning I did. And I'm reading instructions now because I'm petrified of anything going wrong and setting into flames. And
you do ask me quite a bit, like when you cook and stuff, or like when you're putting things in the washing machine, just for like reassurance. Like,
yeah.
Shall I be doing it like this?
I second think myself a lot more because I have more responsibility now.
Yeah.
Like today I asked Adam if I had to put the washing machine on a 40 or a 60.
And I was like, 30.
Good job I asked.
Save the environment and don't shrink me clothes. I'll have to have straight vodka. Ah.
If you enjoy videos like these, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to be notified every time we make a brand new video. We make videos almost every 3 days, roughly. I'm on social media such as Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. I also do tarot readings. If you want to book one, there's a link down, email down there. Goodbye!
I'll probably be back for more, because we're at that point in the house now where we're settled. And we've got things kind of in a position where we're happy for them to be.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, And let us know what you want us to make, to do together, What videos? What do you want? What do you want from us?
What would you like?
Let us know in the comment section below. Bye bye. Leave room for my patrons. Go away. Go away. They need to fill up the screen. But then we need to leave room for my recent videos. I'll go down here.
Let's get under the table.
There you go. Watch these recent videos. They're really good.